to dive a little deeper into the game of college football. We love to talk about the coaching and the pedigree. This guy, his father stretches back to the days of Northeast Ohio and the connections with Nick Saban. We've heard Coach Saban talk about Bob Stoops. Mike Stoops, his brother, is actually an analyst here at the University of Alabama. He has published a book today. It's been released. No Excuses, The Making of a Head Coach. Coach Bob Stoops, welcome back to Tuscaloosa, sir. I hope you're having a great day.
I'm having a great day. Thanks for having me on, and good to be with you this afternoon.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I'm kind of curious, as someone who wanted to kind of explain in this book, what was the goal of the book? When people read the book, what did you want them to walk away knowing about Bob Stoops?
You know, it's more than anything. I've just been asked through so many years, how did this happen for you? You know, for different people, I want to do the same thing, or I want to, you know, what's the path been like? You know, how did you become, you know, how did this all go for you? And it's almost impossible to explain anything like that in a 5-minute, 10-minute conversation. So I thought, why not just put it all out there? This is how it went for me and how this all happened. And I'm also asked by a bunch of people, how did we, you know, get Oklahoma, a storied program, you know, that had been floundering, how did we get it back so fast? And because it's not easy, but we did it, you know, won the national championship in our second year. And, you know, and then for the last 20 years, we've maintained it. We've always been, you know, in the hunt, and we continue to win Big 12 championships, has competed for national championships. So also there's a lot of those strategies and philosophy and our mentality on how we did it so fast and how we've kept it that way over the last 20 years.
You know, it's the same with Nick Saban. When you begin to talk about the coaching tree, and your coaching tree includes a hot shot in the name of Lincoln Riley that we had a chance to see in Fort Lauderdale last year, and it had a good-looking football team. I'm curious, from your perspective, how have you seen Lincoln Riley develop in that position after getting, you know, the head coaching job, and you see him maybe take that next step as a head coach?
Well, he's been awesome. I mean, he's been nothing but great. I mean, winning our Big 12 championships, had us in the playoffs, and, you know, had us in overtime against Georgia in the Rose Bowl just 2 years ago. So, you know, he's been incredible, and I knew he would be. He's got, you know, working with him, he's got great poise, but with the poise, he's got great competitiveness and toughness. And, you know, he's bright, smart, you know, not look what he does with the quarterbacks and calling the offense. But he also relates, you know, with all the players well, motivating them and all the things you need to do to be a, you know, a really quality head coach. So he's got those traits and those characteristics.
Coach, we had a Barrett Jones, two-time All-American. I know you're familiar with him. He's an ESPN analyst and a guy that we had on a couple of days ago. And he said, you know, we're talking about the offensive line here in Tuscaloosa. It's not been where Alabama fans kind of want it to be. And he said, you got to give it time. He said, you know, you talk about 7-on-7, skill position, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. You guys get all the work during the offseason. It's hard just to snap your fingers and automatically be physical 2 games in. You buy that philosophy?
Well, I'm not going to contradict them. At the end of the day, you've got a good point. You know, those receivers, skill guys can go out and perfect their skill all year round, and you can't be running into everybody year round. You know, so he's got a really good point of you know, the fact that you've got to continue to work those skills now that you've got the pads on and developing, you know, the technique and things that if you want, especially if you have younger and inexperienced guys. So I think he's got a really good point.
Coach Bob Stoops, I'm kind of curious, when you see the XFL, you were one of the ones that kind of gave this program and this new league, the startup league and establishment, the credibility. What made you get back into the coaching side of things there for the Dallas Renegades that will be starting in the spring?
You know, a number of things. First, I would say beginning with the leadership. You know, several talks with Oliver Luck, our commissioner, really understood we're going to play excellent quality football. That, you know, he and Vince McMahon have a great vision for this. You know, the owner, Vince McMahon. So began with the leadership of it. And then next I got to thinking, you know, it'd be pretty exciting to work with older players that have a lot of experience. These guys have all played college ball and have all played good college ball. And you think about it, you know, there's a lot of really good football players that are right on the fringes of the NFL. You think about the last 5 or 10 guys cut from every team, those are good football players. and that need a platform to play, and people want to watch them. So in the end, I got to thinking, this would be a pretty exciting adventure starting from the ground up. And, great TV contracts already in place with major, national coverage with Fox and ESPN. So on and on. There was a lot of things that really, that I thought at this point in my life really fit me. And so I decided to start it.
Coach, I want to go back to 2000. You were awarded the Coach Paul Bear Bryant Award. We spent yesterday saluting Coach Paul Bear Bryant because it was the birthday of the legendary football coach, and we spent a lot of time. I'm just curious, when you win that award, knowing the pedigree that you come from, what did it mean to get recognized as the Bryant Award as top coach in college football back in 2000?
It meant a great deal. I never got to meet Coach Bryant, but, the respect is there, and in awe of everything that he accomplished and what he stood for. I've heard Coach Switzer tell different stories about him. So it meant a great deal to me. All of those national awards, fortunately, anyway, there's been several of them, and just always have felt fortunate and blessed, and always realized there was a lot of people that helped me win it.
When you look at Nick Saban from a coaching perspective, you know what it takes to win at a high level. You were able to do that for a lot of years there at Oklahoma, win national titles, and be a part of championship seasons. When you look at Nick Saban, what makes this guy successful? What makes his program be able to sustain the success it does currently in T-Town?
Well, from the outside, now I haven't been there working directly with Nick, so it's hard for me to truly say. But you have to appreciate the attention to detail. As he always says it, and I love it, he always talks about the process that they go through each week with and the way they work, and and the methods that they go into each game with. They do a great job that way. The detail and the physicality they play with, and I'd say too they do a great job, and it's a compliment to them. They do a great job recruiting as well. You're not winning anything without players. And they've had strong, and they've done a great job of recruiting and as well. So all of it together, has made for some special years for them. And again, he's doing it, and he's done it as well as anybody ever has.
Coach, when you look at this year's college football, give me some teams that got to grab your attention as you look around the landscape of college football. Maybe the 4 teams that'll be standing there in the end, according to you.
Well, it's the obvious ones right off the bat, Clemson and Alabama, of course. And then, the other 3 that have been hanging around a ton and looking great and been nipping at everyone's heels right to the verge of doing it have been Oklahoma, Georgia, and Ohio State. Are also excellent teams so far in watching them. And then, I think, too, I'm on board with what I saw. I thought it was exciting to see what LSU did the other day. And Texas has looked good. They're right on as good as LSU was. They're right on the fringe of beating them. So, I just thought what you haven't seen a lot from LSU through the years is the ability to throw the football. And I've always said, as an outsider, just watching LSU and the talent that's there, I've always said, look out if they can ever figure out how to be really good throwing the football. And so it looks like they may have found that. So anyway, I don't know. Those are the ones real quick that, Texas to go with those other 5 and LSU and probably Notre Dame really on here too is looked really strong.
Coach, I know you got an interview coming up in a couple of minutes. We're talking about No Excuses, the making of a head coach that's available right now. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it locally throughout the great bookstores throughout this area. No Excuses, the making of a head coach. I'm curious if you could share your opinion, your analysis of Tua Tagovailoa.
Well, it looks great. Let me put it this way. If he's playing instead of Jalen Hurts, that's, because I'm watching Jalen here firsthand and the quality of player that he is. So just looks like an exceptional athlete and with a great arm and, really executes what they're asking him to do in a really positive way. And what you don't see are missteps, bad calls or him getting in the wrong play or him making mistakes. So he's looked he's been incredibly impressive.
Coach, I'm curious, final question. As you look back at that person, and I'm sure it's probably your father, but that person that made an impact on your coaching career, as you talk about No Excuses, The Making of a Head Coach. Who is that person that had the biggest influence on your coaching profession?
Oh, I would say for sure. I mean, it starts with my father. There's no doubt. My personality and just being around him through all the years of his playing baseball or to him coaching, just always allowed to be with him in games or, whatever he was doing. And then Steve Spurrier, I've made no bones about it. I've tried to emulate him in every way. Been still a great friend. And we brought so much from Florida to Oklahoma in the way we ran our program. And, like I said, why wouldn't I try to emulate what we were doing there in Florida when I was with them in 96, 97, and 98. So, yeah, he's been a huge mentor as well and really just a close friend.
Well, Coach, listen, we've always had a lot of respect for what you guys were able to accomplish there in Oklahoma. We love the blue bloods of the programs, and it's fun to be able to talk with you here in Tuscaloosa. Coach Bob Stoops, thank you again for making us part of your afternoon.
Thanks, guys. Great to be with you.
Hey, thank you so much. That's Bob Stoops talking about a book, The Making of a Head Coach, and kind of dive a little deeper into that book. We're just released. I've not had a chance to even open the covers of it, but I'm sure it's going to be a great read. No Excuses, The Making of a Head Coach, published there by Little Brown and Company, published and released this week. Today's the big release date, so Coach Bob Stoops joining us there for a couple of minutes